What's going on out there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS. Got your boy here, Joe Johnson 030. We are back at it again for a brand new review, first reaction, non-spoiler for Arrow. I think this is episode 12, Joe. I'm not sure. I have to go and backtrack that. But I do know that the name of this episode is Unchained, like Django. What were your first impressions of this episode? So we can kind of go. We're going to touch on a couple points, y'all, but we're not going to give everything away. We're going to kind of go more in depth with our full review in a little bit. But what were some of your thoughts about this episode?
It was a pretty decent episode. Overall, there's a couple of, not to spoil anything, but there's a couple of characters in this episode that make an appearance. And also there's a couple of new characters to be introduced, whom we haven't seen in a while on the Arrow show. So with that being said, there was some good. I like where the plot is going in these next couple of episodes.
Yeah. For me, like always, I think that Arrow has a good way of being able to take care of all the action choreography in a really good way, because they take a huge effort in sizing it up from the set pieces to the location. Not just that, it's a benefit to have like the actual actors that are willing to go above and beyond to be able to do the actual stunts. And Stephen Amell and another reprising character comes back into this episode, and they did some really awesome stunts, as well as in a, well, not the flashback sequence, but something that's also going on the other side of the world. You get to see some interesting characters that kind of have a connection to Ra's al Ghul, and I thought that was a really good, interesting set piece. But there is a new villain in the mix of it. I can't remember his name. Was it like Calculator or something to that degree? Yeah. But I think that one of the good things about the episode was the fact that Felicity was kind of coming off of her situation from the last one, where she had to put her best foot forward and not just work with Team Arrow, but now she has another side she has to deal with, which is Palmer Tech, which is going to be eventually Queen Industry. I'm still unsure why they haven't gone to that route yet. But I think that they're doing a really good job with Felicity's character. Like, from the past 2 seasons, they've kind of, downgraded her in a little bit of ways, just with kind of relationships wise. But I like where they're going with her character. She's becoming such a strong asset of the team. And even like there's an interesting revelation at the third act that I didn't expect coming. Me and Joe were kind of like dumbfounded by that. But I thought it was really good revelation, especially. But the villain is interesting. I think he's kind of more of a filler villain. It wasn't too much going on there, other than him kind of butting heads with Felicity. But as far as all around, I think it was a good episode. It was a good, solid episode. The character that comes back, which I want to talk about so bad, but I'm going to talk about it more in depth in the spoiler review. I love their presence in the show, because it's like I realize how much I really missed the character in a lot of different ways. And I think that I would hope for the character to actually come back, as well as you find out some interesting revelations about what really was sacrificed with Thea coming back to life. And that kind of gets brought into the fold. And I think that might be one of the best undertones of this episode, because you did not see it coming, nor the weight and the gravity behind of it. And it makes for some really good dialogue sequences between Thea, Oliver, and Malcolm. And I think those are one of the strongest points of this episode. And I actually really enjoyed this episode. I think I'd have to give it no less than a 9.0 out of 10. It kept Felicity maintained as far as, who awesome she is. And even Oliver has some awesome action set pieces and making some life changes and choices. And then just having it fresh, having these new characters as well as a mix of the old that I did not expect, but it was a pleasant surprise. But what would you give it, final thoughts?
I would definitely give it a 9, just because it's like some bombs being dropped in this episode. Yeah, it's definitely some bombs being dropped.
Yeah, it's definitely like what is gonna happen next kind of thing.
Exactly.
You really don't know.
You really don't know.
But we'll talk about it soon in this spoiler-filled review. Keep it locked, JVS. We ain't gonna stop. Y'all keep it easy.
I thought I told you that.
Peace. What? Really? We gotta come out with a rap then. That's dope. I like that.